I feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me. You're alive, make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me.
So mute that for me for a second. Open up the other mic and test that one.
Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Audio check, 1 2. Check, check. Audio check, 1 2. All right, let me go down the line to make sure you hear each one of them. Still can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Say that again. Say it into your mic so you. Yeah, okay. But he can't hear. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Audio check, 1 2. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. That's good right there. Well, yeah, that's too loud for me. Hold on, let me switch to another. Let me go to audio check 1 2 1 2. Audio check 1 2 1 2. You still don't hear anything? Audio check 1 2. Check check 1 2 1 2. Audio check 1 2 1 2. You still not hearing anything? Check check 1 2. Check check 1 2 1 2. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Check check 1 2 1 2. Let's see the quarter to the XLR. Let's try that again. Cause it's breaking up. This one right here. In there now. Check check 1 2 1 2. Audio check 1 2. You can't hear me any or nothing? Audio check 1 2 1 2. Check check.
Let me change the
Audio check. Audio check 1 2. Check check 1 2. What he said? Audio check 1 2 1 2. Check. Check check 1 2 1 2. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Check check 1 2.
scanning your list.
sound? Audio check 1 2. Audio check. Testing audio 1 2 1 2. Check check 1 2 1 2. I'm buried in the background again. Check check 1 2 1 2. Check check. Audio check. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Audio check. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Audio check. Well, I'm buried in the background with everything was working before. I'm trying to see what is on. Check check 1 2. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Audio check. Testing audio 1 2 1 2. You hear this loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Okay, we have that one loud and clear. You still can't hear anything? He hears this one loud and clear. That is channel 4. Yep. This one's actually lower. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Audio check, 1 2. Audio.
That one sounds good.
We're just trying to run through the audio right quick. That's right here. Check, check.
Did you switch the cable one? You know that?
Check, check. 1 2. Audio.
Barely in the background.
Check, check. Audio check, 1 2 1 2 1 check. Yeah. What he said?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's live web streaming broadcast. We're allowing the people here in the Fort Lauderdale area to come in. There's a lot of traffic, and folks are slowly coming in to watch today's presentation, so that's why we have a little delay. We'll get started in a few minutes. Thanks for joining us.
People in a show, all lined in a row. We just push on by. It's funny how hard we try. Take a moment to relax before you do anything rash. Don't you wanna know me? Be a friend of mine. I'll share some wisdom with you. Don't you ever get lonely from time to time. one by one. Still we live our lives as if all this stuff survives. Don't you wanna know me? Be a friend of mine. I'll share some wisdom with you. Don't you ever get lonely from time to time. Don't let the system get you down.
Across the seas and the oceans, a permanent itinerant is what I've chosen. I find myself in a big city prison, arisen from the vision of mankind, designed to keep me discreetly, neatly in the corner. You find me with the flora and the fauna and the hardship. Backyard is where my heart is. Still I find it hard to depart this big city life. Big city life, me try to get by. Rationalize up no matter what me try. Big city life, in my heart have no base. And right now Babylon get on the case. Big city life, try to get by. Rationalize up no matter what me try. Big city life, my heart have no base. And right now Babylon get on the case.
check, 1 2 1 2. Audio check, 1 2.
I'm gonna stand in front of you guys for a second. Yes. This way? Oh, you want me back? Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for showing up tonight to our very special remote lung cancer living room. Some of you may know we do this back in California every month, third Tuesday of every month, live. Some of you chime in and sign in online and are able to ask questions of the amazing expert speakers that we have come and talk about different aspects of the disease. I am beyond thrilled to see so many of you in the room tonight, and beyond thrilled to have this amazing group of physicians sitting behind me. Most of you are a patient and or a loved one of a patient who sees one of these doctors, and it's extraordinary that we've got 4 different hospitals that we're representing here today. So the collaborative nature across South Florida and their willingness to participate in something like this just for you absolutely warms my heart. For those of you who I haven't met yet, I'm Danielle Hicks. I'm with the Bonnie J. Dario Lung Cancer Foundation, and I'm Associate Executive Director there in charge of patient programs and services. So programs like this, the living room here, and the one we do at home, as well as several other things, are my area of responsibility. So I want to welcome all of you for coming. Thank you, thank you. And a little bit of housekeeping, just to let you know how this works. We really want it to be interactive. The purpose of this meeting is for you. So as we're having conversations tonight about different, aspects of the disease, if you have a question, please just raise your hand and I will come with a mic. We want it to be interactive throughout, so no need to hold your questions till the end. No need to be shy. If you don't ask questions, I'm going to ask questions I think you should be asking, just in case anybody, is too embarrassed or uncomfortable to ask. There are people signing in live and watching, so this is being live streamed via YouTube. So there are people online that are able to ask questions of the physicians as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Raez to introduce himself, and he is our moderator tonight. I'm sure a lot of you know who he is, so thank you very much.
themselves from the left to the right.
They're having trouble hearing you.
I'm Bruno Bastos from Medical College Recruitment Clinic. I have special interest in thoracic oncology, and I'm happy to be here today in the panel, and welcome to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you.
My name is Ana Botero. I'm radiation oncology from Memorial Cancer Institute. I work with Dr. Tarrazzi, Dr. Raez, and Vanessa, and we work as a team. Really, it's amazing that despite that we're in different hospitals, we know each other, and we really try to communicate and do the best for our patients. So I think that I'm the only radiation oncology here, so any questions about radiation, nowadays we really have to work as a team, and it's great to have this opportunity to be sitting kind of in the living of our house just to discuss questions and concerns. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Francisco Tarrazzi. I'm a thoracic surgeon for the Memorial Healthcare System, and we specialize in thoracic oncology, lung cancer surgery. Here ready to answer any question you might have or any any concerns you may have about surgery and lung cancer. That's what we're here for. And meetings like these are great because this is a way every patient should face when there is cancer or a diagnosis of cancer. When you go through the diagnosis and the staging and the treatment process, you usually are going to see a surgeon, an oncologist, and a radiation oncologist. And you want to be in a setting in which you can see all of them in a timely fashion so you can hear all the options from each perspective, radiation oncology and surgery, that we don't work against each other. I mean, options are available, and sometimes both work or one is better than the other. And you should be aware of all that options available for you as a patient. And teamwork is key for the success of lung cancer management.
Thank you. My name is Mudad. I'm a medical oncologist from the University of Miami. I'm a thoracic medical oncologist. I'm very happy to be here and happy to see all of you, everybody together. I'm thankful also for the invite and would love to answer your questions about lung cancer and what the advances are in 2017.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Edgardo Santos, and Medical Director of Cancer Research at the Lynn Cancer Institute in Boca Raton, Florida. I also direct all the research enterprise for my institution. Very happy to be here, and also a thoracic oncology.
Hello, my name is Vanessa. I am the nurse navigator for thoracic oncology at Memorial Cancer Institute, and I'm usually the first voice that you hear once you are diagnosed. I also coordinate if you need to see a thoracic oncologist, which would be Dr. Tarrazzi or Dr. Botero with radiation oncology. And even oftentimes when a patient wants to seek a second opinion, that's when we work collaboratively as a team with Dr. Bastos, Dr. Mudad, and Dr. Santos as well.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we want the patients to introduce themselves. It's something very informal. You can say whatever you want. Basically, whatever you want to share with us, we would like only to meet you and cheer. So we can maybe start at this table.
Hi, my name's Linda Hensley. I was diagnosed a little over a year ago with stage 4 lung cancer. And I see Dr. Raez and Vanessa, who I love dearly. And I have my daughter and my son-in-law with me who are supportive and helpful and do the best they can to keep me positive, which I think is why I feel so good. I don't feel sick. I never have. So I don't know what I'm supposed to feel like. I mean, you know, other than having over 5,000 liters of fluid taken off my lung and having Dr. Tarrazzi put in a tube in so that I would drain myself, that's the only uncomfortable thing I had. So I don't feel bad. So I guess the best thing is keep a positive attitude, fight. I want to see my grandchildren grow. I want to see them get married. I want to see everybody I love. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Mara. I'm from Jupiter, Florida. I was diagnosed with adenocarcinoma, non-small cell, in 2013. I was diagnosed at stage 2B/3. And then in 2015, I had another nodule in my other lung, and it turns out I had 2 primaries. And I had surgery on both. And I'm doing good. I feel good. And that's my husband, Anthony. And he's a great guy.
Hi, my name is Paul Ellen. I'm a prostate cancer survivor since 2007. A year after my treatment, we were unlucky enough to find out that my wife had stage 4 lung cancer with mets to the brain. I'll let her talk in a second. Dr. Raez and Dr. Botero, thank God for them. She's now here many, many years in remission.
Hi, I'm the wife, Audrey Ellen. It's good to be here, seeing some old faces and some new. And I'm just here to tell you that there's hope, because I was diagnosed the beginning of 2008 in January, started my treatment in February. By August 2008, after those months of chemotherapy and radiation, CyberKnife, another little wonderful thing that's done for us these days. Here I stand. I'm very grateful to my doctors and, of course, my husband, who's been with me every step of the way. It's good to be here. Thank you.
My name is Rosario, and I'm a 3rd-year survivor, stage 4. I feel very lucky and happy to be here. I went through radiation and chemo in Sloan Memorial in New York, and unexpectedly it stopped working. And thanks to Dr. Mudad, we jumped on to Keytruda, and that was over 10 months ago. And I'm feeling okay. I could feel better, but I'm feeling okay.
I'm Nancy, Roy's wife, and we feel very fortunate to be here and to have all these new things available to us, and Dr. Mudad is our lifeline, so.
Hi, I'm Janet Morgan. I was diagnosed with stage 1B lung cancer in July of 2015. I also did not feel sick, and the lung cancer was found sort of accidentally because they were looking to see if maybe I had pneumonia. I had a cough. I had surgery at MD Anderson in Houston, and I've been through chemotherapy, and I have not had a recurrence since then, and it'll be 2 years diagnosis anniversary at the end of this month. So.
Hello, I'm Lisa Segnow. I've been diagnosed 2 years ago with stage 4 lung cancer. Dr. Botero was my radiologist. Carlene here has been my support line. And it had bone, liver, and brain metastasis. But everything is, right now everything is good. I never felt sick either, except for a pain in my back, which brought me to a chiropractor, and then after that nothing was helping, so then the MRI and the bone scan, and then found out that it was actually caused by stage 4 lung cancer. But I feel good. I keep moving, and thank God I'm here. And I have a great support system.
My name is Hernan Perry. In 2015, accidentally it was discovered I had lung cancer. Due to a pneumonia, this doctor looked at the x-ray and found a tumor. So Dr. Tarrazzi took care of it. He operated, extracted part of my lung, and 2 years went by with nothing. And 2017, it was metastasis. I had one in the brain and 2 more in the lungs, and it was the same cancer. So they decided to go to cyberknife. Dr. Botero performed the cyberknife on me, and Dr. Dietrich is my oncologist, and I'm on the new drug. I'm doing immunotherapy opposed to chemo, and I feel wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard Ronay. I'm Dr. Raez's patient. I've had chemotherapy. I was diagnosed a couple of years ago, about 2.5 years ago, with stage 4 lung cancer. I've had chemo, I've had radiation, and immunotherapy, and so far I'm in the clear. So.
I'm Rosemary Bartel. I was diagnosed in 2013 with stage 4 lung cancer. Dr. Raez and Dr. Botero have been taking very good care of me. I had chemo yesterday. I suffered minor effects from the chemo, and I'm here. It's been 4 years. Thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Phil Werman. I live here in Lauderdale. I was first diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis in 2011, and I was told I had 6 months to live. One doctor said you have maybe 12 months. That was 6-7 years ago. Then when I went back to have it checked out 2 years later, that's when the CAT scan MRI showed tumors. So one in my left lung, one in my right. So under the guidance of Dr. Bastos at Cleveland Clinic, and prior to him, another doctor there, Greskovich, I had target radiation on this lung. It went away. The tumor was gone. This lung went down to about 2.5 centimeters, about 1 inch. I said, great, praise the Lord, I'm fine. Now the bad news, it had spread to a couple of lymph nodes. So I had radiation treatment. I've been dealing with this since 2014, actually, is when we first saw it. And I'm also treating it holistically. I'm not doing chemo. I just didn't want to do chemo, and that's fine for those who use it. So that's where I am now. So I'm fighting it, but I've never had a bad day since 2011, and especially since I was told that I had cancer. I really feel good every single day. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. One thing, if I might say, I have my groupies here. My wife, who for 3 years has been making juice every single morning for me, 6 8-ounce glasses a day of carrot juice every morning. And my groupies are my grandson, my granddaughter, and my daughter. And without them, I don't know where I'd be. That's my support group.
Hi, I'm Joy Conmee. We live in Wellington, but I was lucky enough that my daughter, who is a midwife in Atlanta, suggested, through another doctor who moved up from Miami, suggested I go see Dr. Raez. And I've had Dr. Raez and Dr. Botero, and I had stage 3 lung cancer, and it was on a node, an R4 node. And after Dr. Botero and Dr. Raez finished with chemo and radiation, so far, so good. And I had my last chemo last November, and so far, I'm doing great.
I'm Diana, and I was diagnosed in March of this year with 3 primaries, stage 4 lung cancer, stage 2 colon cancer, and thymus cancer. Currently treating the lung cancer with chemo once a week. I had scans again last Friday, and it shows that it's working, and we'll go on maintenance chemo once every 3 weeks after these last 2 chemos, and then check it again and see how it's going.
My name is Kavette, and I have been told I had cancer in 2003 first time. Had no any symptoms. By accident it was found. It was in my mid-lung, and I was told a few years later, they didn't tell me then, that I would have died in six months if it wasn't taken care of. I had it taken out. No lymph nodes, nothing. Everything was perfect for 2 years. And then I had cancer in my lymph node right here, which is very hard because that's where you breathe, that's where your heart is. And I met Dr. Raez, who is like my savior. I'm going to tell you something. When you're told that you have cancer, you feel like your world has fallen apart. It's like somebody gave you a death sentence. And I want you to know, whoever is listening, that it's not true. It's not a death sentence. You have a good doctor that will work with you, because one of the things that I hated is, even with my relatives, suddenly I became stupid or something. What? I told my daughter, I said, listen, I didn't lose my mind, I only have cancer. You know? I mean, they treat you suddenly like you can't do anything. A doctor, like Dr. Raez, he worked with me. He respected my wishes. I would go with my book right here, nutrition book, and I would ask him, can I have this? It says what is good and bad for cancer. And he says, yes, you can have this. You can. What is this? Find out for me. I would find out for him, and he says, you can have that too. This lady asked me if I had therapy. I was lucky enough to be able to travel. That was my therapy. I had my, as I said, the surgery. When I came to Dr. Raez, my lymph node, I had radiation, I had chemo. But one thing that I believed is that when you are diagnosed, somehow, you know, you lose faith. You don't believe in anything. I always believed that I was going to be okay. And when I came back to Dr. Raez, again, it was a different, I'm not going to say stage, whatever. I don't care about stages. He said to me, I don't know if you remember, he said, Mrs. Bloom, I didn't think you were going to come back. And I said, take care of me, you take care of the medicine, I take care of my mind. I didn't feel like a patient, because he made me feel like a human being that was in charge. You feel horrible because you feel like you have no control. Suddenly your body is everybody else's. All the things are going on. He made me feel like I had control. I didn't lose my power. And I, with him, worked through it. I had chemo. I had times in between where I could breathe a little bit. And then I had CyberKnife, chemo again, 2.5 years chemo to maintain it away. And then I relapsed, and Dr. Raez said there's a drug called Tarrazzi. Maybe it'll work for you. It was before it was accepted by the FDA. I lucked out. It worked like, I've been on it. I'm on the 7th year. I have, yes. But you know what really is really something, because when I was going through the chemo, and I tell this story, my granddaughter was 4 years old, and I mentioned this to somebody, and she came to me and she goes to me, Mima, look at my hair, how beautiful my hair is. And I said, it's gorgeous. I look like the crypt keeper. I had a couple of hairs on my head. I looked horrible. And she looked at me and she says, Mima, but your hair is beautiful too. You know, I almost cried. This is how they see you, people that love you. To make the story short, Tarsiva had a lot of side effects, and I studied how to get, how to not have them, how to go again. For example, you're not supposed to have antacids. What do? You have a bad stomach, right? Well, my husband makes me ginger tea, fresh ginger. He makes immediately it's gone. So I have found a way of dealing with the side effects very well. I have been living a good life. Thank to Dr. Raez, I don't know, I tell him I love him after my husband, that's it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alex. I was diagnosed with stage 4 a year ago in April. And, of course, you go through all the initial thoughts of, why me and, what did I do to deserve this? And then I quickly turned that around and started looking for the silver linings that is in everything in life. And, I started immediately thinking, I remembered something that I always told myself was that, God gives the hardest battles to the strongest soldiers. And I realized that I was happy that it was happening to me as opposed to, things like this have to happen. Statistically, the stats aren't going to change. They're getting worse, if anything. So I'd rather, me than anyone else, because I know that, I'm going to, it's an amazing challenge, and I get to prove that I am going to be a victor over cancer as opposed to a victim of it. And with that, and with the help of the entire, all the services that are available at Memorial Cancer Institute and all the resources available at the Bonnie J. Addario Lung Cancer Foundation and, and the support from, family and friends, I was able to, take all of that and complete a Spartan race exactly a year and a week from the date that I was diagnosed. And I did it faster than I did it 3 years ago, mind you. And thank you. And, I want to say that, having to face to me, having to face my mortality was really the most liberating experience of my life. Because it made me so much more aware of time and, to appreciate all the beautiful things that we have for free in this world that we all take for granted. And knowing that if I could get through this, then I could absolutely do anything. And I'm very happy and thankful to be able to meet so many inspiring people, people that are, working with us directly, being patient with us, because I'm sure I'm probably not the only patient in here that graduated from Google Search University that has 1,000, crazy questions for you guys that, about all these potions and plants and, things, miracle cures, and you guys have been really patient with me and, I actually learned how to ask intelligent questions like in the Bonnie Addario lung cancer website. They have a list over there. And I'm really, really happy to be here with all of you guys. And I look forward to being able to do this with all of you guys, for years to come. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John LaMotta. I'm a patient of Dr. Raez, also of Dr. Tarrazzi and Dr. Botero, who cyberknife surgery. It's been approximately 4 years now. What a great team they are. These are a great team, people to work together, people that make your family feel comfortable. It's a very inspiring thing. I seem to think about fighting every day, you know, one day at a time. It's actually become a little bit easier because I know I have to live with it. I also have to demonstrate to my loved ones that I'm also going to be very strong. So thank you again, doctors. Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is Lydia. I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer in 2015. Then it migrated to my brain. I think to talk a lot, but I think it's I wonder. Because I've heard most of the things that I have said, you all feel the same. Yes, when you diagnose with cancer, it's going to be the end of the world. But each of us reacts differently. I have 2 sons, now I have 2 grandchildren. And the first thing that came to my mind was, I cannot do this to my children. I cannot do this so fast. And my second thought was, but I'm going to live through this. I'm going to be a survivor because many people get cured of cancer. And I always felt I was going to be cured. And I used to go, and I used to see like makeup and yeah, I felt like that. I used to go to my chemo so happy. I said, they're killing me, they're killing me. Then when I went to my radiation, the technicians laughed because they said, how many did we kill today? I was so positive. It's very important. You have to have faith in God, of course, to be optimistic and positive. The attitude is very important in life, and we all have problems, different kind of problems. And then thirdly, but also, most importantly, is to have faith in your doctors. My doctor is Dr. Raez, my oncologist, and my radiologist is Dr. Lauderdale. And they become your friends, as the lady said, they work with you. And I feel fine. I also had cyberknife from my Dr. Botero because it went to my brain. That was quite scary. Luckily, I don't think I lost any faculties. But my son would probably say, yes, you have, because I'm sorry. You tell the same story 3 times. Maybe I have Alzheimer's. I can say that. Okay, so don't ever tell me that. So in any case, I really feel so accompanied. We are a family, but we are strong people, we're positive. We have people that love us. Our doctors love us, they fight for us. Because for them, it's also trying to see us all here after so many years. And here we stay, and we want to stay forever. After all, God, they want to have the last word, so who am I to rush things? But yes, I know that this is also a moment for questions. I'm short, I promise. Was I wrong? I don't know. Because when he comes to visiting the council, I make jokes and well, this is it. In any case, right now, I also went through chemo, radio, cyberknife, my hair fell off, back, I changed color of hair, I put the color, I don't care. I don't see my back, so I don't in any case, and right now, it's going to be almost 2 years that I'm taking Optivo, which is immunotherapy. So, Dr. Raez, you told me, no, I don't know who else is taking immunotherapy. A few, maybe, I don't know, nobody really, one I was very happy to learn over video too. I have my board because obviously I had chemo when I was biopsy. I had metastasis, so they could take some of my lung. Thank God for that too. God is always there with you when you need him. I've been a smoker for 50 years. If they had taken part of my lung, I cannot imagine my recuperation. So instead, I was a candidate for chemo, so they put the board, and I love my board. I don't care. People don't like to go. Anyway, so doctor, now we serious. I'm very, I didn't have any side effects from the chemo. I've been very lucky in that sense. Only my thyroid. I take thyroid pills, no problem. But I'm really scared after this, the 52nd time, which is the last one, what comes next, or I should not worry, because right now, although you're sitting here happy-go-lucky, I do have 2 little tumors in my lung, but they're very small, we're waiting for it to grow, to keep them, which is a paradox, but sometimes it's the way it goes. But I really feel wonderful with it, and I eat very well too. Thank you. So this is one question for you, Dr. Raez, and then for you have 4 or 5 medical oncologists here. Okay, all experts. All experts. And then Dr. Botero, since you're the only radiologist. This is not, I don't know. I had radiation in my lung program. And somebody told me that when you do a mammogram, which I still do yearly, although I do PET scans every 3 months. But I think, I don't know if PET scans are enough, or I should still do my mammogram. And somebody said that a mammogram is also radiation. And somebody like me that was radiated, and this stays with you for a long time, should get a mammogram every week. So this is a good question, what happens after the vivo, and if there's an answer about the mammogram.
Okay, so we let Dr. Botero answer the mammogram question first. And we have time for the rest.
I think that traditionally, it's kind of amazing to be here, sitting, listening to all the stories of my patient and other doctor's patient, because we see many patients during the day, and truly at least they touch my life like how they comment together, like one after the other, and you have to basically step in the room and forget about the other patient that you saw and focus on that patient, because every patient is unique. And I know that sounds like a really silly that we have to individualize the treatment, but truly every single person we're a family. Eventually when my phone, just recently I was in Machu Picchu and Dr. Raez was in China. And sure enough, the only phone call that made it to my phone was Sylvia. Said, I swear I didn't know you. Can you just, and it was a common, a group thing. Can you just give us result? He immediately said, I'm in China, I cannot. Machu Picchu, but I will look for a computer and try to see, because I really want to know how she doing. But it's like a family, so
thank you very much.
my point, because I talk more than her, is that really in the past when we were students, or at least I was a student, stage 4 was like basically turn the page and don't even look at radiation, don't look at anything. The curves, those graphs were like you're dead in a matter of months. Nowadays I see stage 4, and I'm lucky because I have I work first with Dr. Mudad, then with Dr. Raez, then Dr. Tarrazzi came out of the box. Because if you open the book, eventually you are going to tell the patient treatment number 1, treatment number 2, treatment number 3, you're done. And radiation was like out of no question. There's no radiation unless you have a painful metastasis or something growing really fast or some pathological fracture. But other than that, if you said, may I treat the metastasis with radiation, the first one to look at you and say, no, it was the medical oncology, I cannot stop the chemotherapy, and you're going to give more side effects to the patient. But now we hear all these stories about what it's even hard to believe for ourselves. You know, I see patients that when I saw the first time, when I saw you, I said, you know, this is going to be a really tough one. And she just stand up and keep, you know, coming. The more radiation, the more chemotherapy, she can keep coming better and better. So it's like a radiation, you know, those days that use radiation to make you more pretty and perfumed. That's like now, seems like a Sylvia and other patients that I have treated a few for times. Mammograms is a minimal amount of radiation compared with the treatment. So if the question is that going to give me a second cancer, forget it. You have one. You know, there's no way. Second, you in the past, patients they didn't used to live for a long time. But now I would say I might consider recommend the mammogram. PET scan is just kind of a gross picture. But if you really want to see the minutia, you might consider if you're doing okay and having a good quality of life. I don't know if don't worry about that compared with the benefit that we give you. And secondly, if there's because you're done and you don't need another screen test and look for a second, you know, to detect early detection of the second cancer, you're far from being there. So just for the matter. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Bastos, can you, the question for all the medical oncologists is the same. Okay? So we are very blessed now that we are making a stage 4 lung cancer a chronic disease that's ongoing worldwide. So we have people on chemotherapy for more than 2 or 3 years. We have people on target therapy pills for more than 2 or 3 years. We have people on immunotherapy for more than 2 or 3 years. So correct is asking how long to take.
Some of the clinical trials that is not yet approved for people, they have their stop point in 2 years. That's the reason a lot of that information and the data that comes from the immunotherapy after 2 years was to stop the drug. However, the FDA approval. So that's something that you can discuss with him, whether or not you consider treating with your people, and also whether or not the insurance would not create any problems in the covering the medication. So, but for longer than 2 years if you're getting benefit.
Well, most of us will agree, but I only want to add that for the relative, fortunately, no cancer.
I can hear you keep turning it on and off, and when you turn it on and off, then I don't hear anything. So it's leave that off on and turn it on.
Kill lung cancer, kill all the lung cancer cells. We need a lot of treatment.
Losing the love on it.
You know, some of you are very lucky that they have 6 months. You know, why need more treatment? Why don't leave me alone and maybe treatment and try? Unfortunately, we know that lung cancer needs treatment. So that's why with the current drugs that we use, we need to do a switch it up. That's why we need the 2-year mark or the 3-year mark. And we are very blessed now that we are facing this problem. It's a nice problem that we have a lot of you that are surviving many years and you don't know what to do. That's a great.
studies have been stopped. But the nice thing is that even patients who have stopped at 2 years, some of them even continue to have a response even when you stop the medicine, and a lot of them did not recur. So these medications are different than chemo, that even when you stop, once you've treated somebody with those medicines for a while, the immune system kind of learned what to do, and then it continues to work on its own, even without those medications. Having said that, though, it is tough for the patient and for us to decide at 2 years to stop, especially if somebody's doing so well. Because I'm scared that if I stop and it comes back, it's a very bad decision. The patient is scared. So I think you need to have an open, frank discussion with your doctor, depending how much disease there is. And if your scan is completely negative, there's probably more reason to stop. But if there is some disease but it's stable, you could continue as long as you're not having side effects of the medicine. So the balance is going to be very important. No side effects, good response, have a discussion with your doctor.
Thank you, guys. I will quote the same word that my colleague Raja. Like everything in life, I mean, when we have patients with that kind of problems, there is no good answer and there is no wrong answer. As some of you already mentioned, everyone is different. So, to all my patients, I always tell them I always try to put myself on their shoes and what I would do if I was in their situation. That's the way I look when I see a new patient in front of me. When the 2 years arrive, and in fact I have 2 patients already arriving, the 2 of them are asking me the same question, I will say, well, we need to be creative, as Dr. Botero said. We cannot be so, like a box and what to do. The good news is that even for you, that you are on Vivo, the company that manufactures that drug is also coming with all the kind of dosing and also scheduling. So maybe in the future we are going to have this drug even once a month, okay, and those kind of things. But certainly, I am a truly believer of maintenance therapy. Lung cancer is very difficult to cure. And when we have someone like all of you fighting against this disease, and we are winning the battle and winning the war, it's very difficult to stop. And then I will call Dr. Mudad, which is correct. If you are doing well, there is no toxicity. I mean, I will be more toward to continue the therapy rather than to stop. But again, it's case by case. So you need to sit down and with your physician and look at pros and the cons.
Thank you. We had one table that didn't introduce anybody.
Yeah, we had to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, there is another microphone somewhere.
Yep.
There.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Ken Kephart. I was diagnosed in mid-December with stage 4 lung cancer. I went to my heart doctor, and he told me that it didn't sound right. He said, I think we ought to put you in the emergency room that day. So I went in, and they removed 5 liters of fluid from my left lung. In the meantime, my wife started looking for doctors, and through some other doctors. We got Dr. Mudad as our doctor. The first 3 months was really bad, but anyhow, he put me on immune therapy, and almost every day I feel a little bit better. Still having a hard time with the breathing and short of breath, but I feel better every day, and he's my hero. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Victor Falcon. I was diagnosed in 2011. Not too long ago was my birthday, and I found out that I live more years than the one that probably I will live. That made me feel like the little kid that have a bag of candies, But now start to count the candies in the bag, so enjoy each one and taste longer. Sometimes we, the cancer patient, don't have the energy, the time, or the feeling or to be fighting with closed-minded people which only follow what an insurance policy says. We are human beings. But the good news is that we are very lucky because we have a team of doctors that they are very human. That is the essence of this group of doctors. And we had to match the same effort that they put in order to fight this illness. I don't want to feel like I am a cat and I have a 7 life. I already have 3 times cancer. But I want to share, or I want to tell you guys that the cancer patient for sure have 2 lives. One starts when we're born. The second one starts when we realize that we have only 1 life. I want to tell you all doctors, thank you very much. You saved my life. And all of you keep fighting. It's nothing to lose.
I wasn't going to do this, but Dr. Santos invited me here this morning, and I said, okay, I'm here, and I didn't know what to expect. 2 years ago today, I was in a Boston hospital about to have a bilobectomy, and I was on the operating table, and the doctor aborted the surgery when he discovered a small nodule in the 3rd lobe, which means I was now stage 4 lung cancer. Thank God he aborted the surgery, because I would never be able to play the tennis I play 3 times a week now, or anything I do. But I was told I better find an oncologist. And I selected Dr. Santos because he is the head of the clinical trial division, or whatever you call it, at the Lynn Cancer Institute. And I figured he's got his finger on the pulse of what's going on and all the newest and latest and greatest. And unfortunately, because of my testing, Keytruda, Tarceva, Opdivo would not work for me. I was on chemo for 16 months, and I finally got to the point where I think the doctor said there comes a point where you have to decide if it's working for you or not working for me. And it really was starting to diminish me and wear down my immune system. So I'm kind of on my own, flying solo. I feel like the man who jumped off the 50-story building. So far, so good, on my way down. I've been 7 months flying solo with my nutrition, my green drinks in the morning, and the other things I'm doing that's changed my life, and I'm feeling good. And I go back and I see Dr. Santos and I have my scans. So far, so good. And I want to hear now that everybody else spoke in the room, but I'd like to hear from this esteemed panel, what's new? What can we expect? Why are we not doing any in this country? No studies are done on something that may be considered a little bit radical, and that is the cannabis studies that are done in Europe and Israel. That are showing extraordinary promise in shrinking and eliminating tumors, not to mention other health things. Why are they not being done in this country? Why is there no nutrition? Why are physicians not taught more than 20 minutes of nutrition in all of their years of education, when it's the natural things, the plant things that are really going to fix us, not the drugs?
So there was a couple of questions in there, right? I'm bringing this back.
That's an important question because at the end of the day, I don't know, for example, Taxol is the most popular chemo, and you know that it's coming from a U3. Taxol is coming from a 3. The only thing is we have learned that how to make it synthetic, but it's a 3. That's why we had to consider all the medications at the end come from a natural source. So for the first question, want a volunteer? Which one? The cannabis.
Question?
Okay. No, we want to. No, this is very important because especially in Florida, we have now, the fight for the approval of the medical use of marijuana, and the patients always want to know, especially what is true and what's not true, and maybe you can answer the utility for cancer care.
Yeah, so we get this question a lot. And first, I think that marijuana or cannabis is very helpful for symptom management. And that's something we clearly know. Patients who have a problem with appetite are losing weight from either the treatment or the disease. Some of them can benefit from the appetite stimulant effect of natural marijuana. Now, we have a synthetic component, which is a drug we can prescribe. It doesn't always work very well. Sometimes the natural marijuana works better. I tell my patients, if you have lung cancer, we don't want you to smoke it, so we prefer the edible form. So until I guess last year, when now it's legal in Florida, you're able to go to a physician who can prescribe medical marijuana, and then you can go to the dispensary and then obtain the marijuana. Other options, I've had patients who have friends in other states and they send them, which I'm not advocating because it's not legal to cross state lines, but. So yes, so this is a voluntary thing. So every provider, so it cannot be the hospital, every provider has the option of becoming a prescriber or not. Not everybody is automatically a prescriber. You have to take a course and be certified by the health department of the state of Florida, and then you become a prescriber. So some doctors can be, some doctors may not be.
Now, the problem for us as doctors is that, the way that we place drugs in the market, a new drug like Opdivo, Keytruda, Tarrazzi, we have matched the drug against the standard of care. The problem with marijuana is we have not matched marijuana against Sofran, against Compasine, against Keytruda, against the drugs that we use, because it was illegal. And so we were unable, all of us are cancer researchers, all of us have clinical trials, and worldwide, because cannabis was illegal, we were not able to do the studies. So now we really feel frustrated because we cannot tell you, for example, there is information that is good for nausea, but we cannot quote you at 5,000 people studied, 2,500 each arm, that the cannabis beats Sofran, because it has never done. The only thing that can tell you is somebody in Europe, in some corner of the world, uses in 20 patients and it works. So that's the problem that we have. As scientists, it's very hard for us. I'm not saying I'm against, or I'm not saying I'm in favor, is that we don't have the studies. That is why, as a doctors probably, we embrace the most dramatic uses. For example, you have seen all the documentals that if you have these kids that have 20 seizures a day, and not even anesthesia stops the seizure, and suddenly somebody gives cannabis and now the kid doesn't have seizures. I guess all of us say, okay, I'll sign for that, Give cannabis because it's a great use for seizures in kids. But for our indications that are nausea or cancer, the patient was saying cancer, we don't have the studies. So it's very hard for us, that's what, to advocate because we don't have the studies yet. Now maybe that is legal. Some of us will take 300 patients and give marijuana, 300 patients give Sofran, and see who has more nausea, vomiting. Unfortunately, it's going to take some time. In the meantime, because all of us have patients that use cannabis, I can tell you people that use cannabis oil, they have more appetite, they have better mood, and a lot of you, I think the success of your lung cancer stories is motivation. A lot of you feel more motivated, more engaged, you eat better, and I guess that's the benefit that I see as a complementary of what we do, no? Anybody else?
I just want to add one thing, and I know you have a question, but I want to answer why we're not doing research. So remember, marijuana is still federally illegal. Any research needs money. So, and the money comes from the federal government, so nobody's going to put money in research. I mean, yeah, you can. Unfortunately, and yeah, in the lab. So this is all still correct. So until we do research like this here, I mean, in this country, we've always learned we have to reproduce things. We kind of don't take research from other countries for granted, but we repeat things and prove them. But until those research funding is available for things like this, it's going to be hard.
Well, sorry, I'm going to talk loud because we're definitely having a technical issues with mics, but maybe just a real quick, how does research work? Because I think if maybe we have a general understanding of what that looks like, and just because it happens in a mouse doesn't mean it won't happen in a human being. Like, how does that work? Because it can be confusing to patients who don't understand.
Yeah, so basically, research start from number one, animal models. Okay, everything start on the lab. You start to investigate a molecule, okay, a particular pathway in all those pathways that cancer cells try to escape. So you discover something that could be potentially that it may work, and then you start to prove that on animal models. Try to see if there is some kind of toxicity and also efficacy. Once you have that kind of things, is you move from the animal model to the human being. And then you start from the scratch, and then you start to do phase 1 clinical trials, then phase 2 and phase 3. So the phase 1, basically what it does is just to look for toxicity and what is the tolerated dose that a human being can tolerate. Once you find that, then you move to the phase 2, in which you are trying to prove efficacy. And if you prove efficacy, then that drug moves to phase 3. And the phase 3 is your drug versus the standard of care. And trying to move the bar in terms of efficacy, which could be overall survival, progression-free survival, all those kind of things that we look to improve the patient's outcome, basically. So it's a process and takes years. Yeah.
We talk to patients at the foundation about all the time is not only does it take years to get through this process, but that's assuming the trial can even fill, right? Between 2 and 4% of all clinical trials in adult oncology, I mean, 2 to 4% of patients participate. So if we're only getting that small amount of participation, we're never even completing the studies to know whether or not it's going to work. So it's sort of this the hamster in the
So we have a question here.
You'll get a lot more, and I'm not saying this to be funny, you'll get a heck of a lot more people participating if marijuana, if medical marijuana.
That's a good point.
It's really interesting because in the state of Florida, there's 556 physicians who have been licensed by the state to be medical distributors. In Broward County, in our county alone, there's about 156. Now, if this is such a hard decision for the federal government to make, or any institution, governmental institution, do you know for $995, all these doctors have to, not for $995, all these doctors have to do is take an 8-hour course. And they're certified by the state.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yet, we don't have it. Is there some kind of a tie between the pharmaceutical companies that manufacture the chemo and the FDA officials?
No, what happened? No, what Dr. Mudad was trying to explain is that, and Dr. Santos, is that because it was illegal before, we never did any study in marijuana or cannabis. Now that it's going to be available, I am sure that a lot of us will start to tap federal funds, state funds. Maybe there are pharmaceutical companies behind marijuana too, so we can request funding from them and do the studies. But it's time. We need time. Maybe it will take 2 years, maybe it will take 3 years until we get the studies, and then we can tell you for sure, marijuana is better than Sofran, marijuana is worse than Keytruda, then we can get conclusions. Until that day, it's hard to make assumptions because, it's not easy because we don't know. The easy question is, the short question is we don't know. Somebody wanted to ask a question here? You wanted to ask a question? Oh, you have a question, sorry.
Relating to the medical marijuana, my dad has pain, and the prescription drugs that he has doesn't help all that much.
Yeah, she's asking if the medical marijuana will help in the cause of pain. Okay, that's the problem. The cannabis is an interesting drug, but as most things in life, will not work for everything. You know, there is no perfect panacea for all the problems in life. So of course, you have proponents of marijuana that say it's a good nausea medication, it's a good cancer medication, it's a good pain medication, it's a good antidepressant, appetite stimulant. You know that most likely, if it works, it's going to work for one thing. So if it's a good anti-cancer medication, doesn't matter the pain thing. Or if it's a good painkiller, doesn't matter the other things. And as far as we know, as a pain drug, it's not very strong. The pain drugs that we use now, fentanyl, oxycodone, you know, they are better. What happens is that the pain depends on you. Two people don't experience the same pain. There is a pain that for me, I don't take anything, and for him makes me miserable, is his attitude. So that's why Dr. Mudad was saying, the psychological component is very important, and that's why I agree. If you want to use cannabis oil and you feel fine and you don't have pain and you don't have to take 10 Percocets a day, for you that will work. I cannot tell you as a scientist that 3 drops of cannabis oil is better than 10 pills of Percocet, no way. But if it works for you, for sure.
It's worth trying if it's available. Why not?
Yes.
So you have to find a provider, and it's on the state health website. They have a listing of all the physicians who are prescribers.
So you have a question, see?
Yes, I have a question about the cannabis for pain. I have a very good friend of mine who was diagnosed with HIV in 2002. He's a strong survivor. They had given him, 6 months to live, yada yada. He has had to have surgery in his cervical spine. They're fused together, and he's been taking morphine for the pain, and to extreme amounts in order to manage the pain. He has successfully switched to medical marijuana and reduced the morphine to once a day just for maintenance of that pain, and it has significantly improved his quality of life. And I just wanted to add that input.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example of what we say. You have a question?
Well, I've seen the cannabis research as well. When you Google in there, cancer cures, and I've asked all the questions to my doctor, Dr. Kimis, and I realize that there's, as of right now, the research isn't there, to know. So that essentially led me to, when I asked my physician, that led me to more questions. And I was able to find good questions, really great questions on the Lauderdale site. And I wanted to know, is there any other sources that we may be able to go to in order to be able to even know what to ask you guys? Because we don't really, it's not something we think about, we don't study it, so what sources, what are good sources, aside from, Lauderdale, Lung Cancer Foundation, and, I found some good information on the Memorial site as well. Is there any other websites that you would suggest where we could get, really good, helpful information? And also I wanted to ask if any of you guys had any recommendations on books on this subject, because that's something that I like reading about, people that are getting cured and making it and surviving.
Anybody want to?
So, the websites, I think, we call it ASCO, which is the American Society of Clinical Oncology. That's the main body that kind of overlooks all cancer care. So ASCO has a great American Society of Clinical Oncology, but if it's ASCO.org. And ASCO is a good place to start, and they have sections about different diseases and recommendations for patients. The other one is the National Cancer Institute, is NCI, nci.org. And it goes disease by disease and every cancer, and it explains it at a patient level. So it's like you said, it's very important when you're doing Google searches to really know the source, because as you know, the internet is completely unregulated, and which is it should be. I'm not saying it should be regulated, but you have to know what you're reading, and then from what year. A lot of time, even the first thing that comes up could be from 2005, and it may not be the most recent thing.
Also, two other websites that you can check is cancer.gov. Okay, in cancer.gov, you may be able to identify clinical trials ongoing, also go by disease, and you can find by phase 1, phase 2, 3, and 4, and also by distance from where you live. And also, some of us in this table, we are also member of the European Medical Society of Oncology, ESMO. So some people have the resources to go to Europe, okay, and being seen there and receive therapy there. I have patients when I was at the University of Miami as a faculty there. I have patients that I refer to Europe. So you can go to esmo.org, which basically is ASCO. ASCO is for America, ESMO is for Europe, and you can also look into that. esmo.org.
Some questions.
Correct. .org.
No, also, I only want to add, and before I continue the questions, is that I guess the best way that we do is very hard for you or for everybody to swallow the information. Okay, Anthony, even as a lung cancer expert, as a doctor, for example, we just had ASCO, and there is like a 320 presentations in lung cancer. It's going to take us some weeks to take a look to all of them, to swallow all of them, to put them together in context. So that's why for the patients it's very hard. That's why we offer you support groups. For example, Dr. Mudad has a great support group. In Memorial, we have a support group. And so some of us go there and try to in a moral approach and calm way discuss these issues. The Adario Foundation has a lot of webinars every month. Then doctors like us try to digest the information for you. And then you don't have to be looking by yourself, because looking by yourself is very hard. It's like when you want to buy a car, you go online, and then you don't know, they are cheating on you, they are charging $10,000 more. You don't know the things. That's why I think that we have to use the foundation and the resources that we have, the resources of advocacy that all of these hospitals have, and I think that will make it much easier for you. We will work together on this. It's part of our mission to give you education and to inform you and to keep you updated. So don't worry about this. We will work with you on this. We only need your support and your participation, and that will make things much easier. You don't have to be looking by yourself. So what was the question?
I just wanted to say that this book, Beating Cancer with Nutrition, is a compound of many, many studies done through the years. When you look on the internet, you're going to find a lot of bad, stuff that's not believable, that it's not true. This is based on studies done all over the world, in the United States and so forth. And that has helped me a lot.
Great.
It's Beating Cancer with Nutrition, and this is how, when you're going to therapy, how to balance.
Okay, so we have, yes, sorry, I have a question.
Questions in the room, guys, it's hard to hear, sorry.
Okay, we have a question in the back.
Yeah, you didn't answer my question. We got sidetracked talking about research for cannabis, which is not going to happen because there's no money in it for the drug companies. They can't patent the plant. However, let's leave the cannabis discussion. My other part of my question was, what is new in the medical oncology department? What's coming down the pipe for people who can't take Keytruda, Tarrazzi,
Perfect.
what's going on? What can we expect?
We'll start from the left.
And I think this, sorry, I'm just gonna add to that, because we completely went off agenda tonight, which is great, because everything's happened organically, but this kind of points back to chronic management, which we touched on, and what role each of them play.
That's why I don't have.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Talking about the book really quick, there is one book that I participated. It's called Cancer Survival Guide, How to Conquer It and Live a Good Life. It's by Charlotte Libov. So Charlotte Libov, BOV, so I did participate. So she interviewed several doctors, so it's really from physicians, oncologists, people who have experience with cancer, so it's a good book to get a resource. I have it at my home too, so I read it sometimes to learn about everything. So the pipeline, it's becoming very promising and hopeful time in oncology right now. So there are many new drugs, many new hopeful treatments coming to the market. So of course, many of you mentioned about the immunotherapy. It seems like right now the field of cancer treatment is moving towards using the patient's immune system to fight the cancer as much as possible. So before we are focusing a lot on target therapy to find what is the right mutation to target. Now, since it turns out that seems to be a very small amount of patients who may have that mutation, the majority of the patients don't have a mutation, so we're going to move towards a non-target approach, which is the user immune system. So it seems like this is some of the drugs already in the market, right? Opdivo, Keytruda. So right now, one of the major areas of research is how to make those immunotherapy drugs work better, how to better understand, utilize the person's immune system, in a way that can treat the cancer more effective way. So that's one of the major fields of development right now in oncology, and many of you have interest in research, you'll be able to find it in many places. Opportunities, like was mentioned here, only 2 to 4% of patients with cancer participates in clinical trials. So right now, it's a very hopeful moment in oncology where there are many clinical trials available for patients in all kinds of stages and phases of the treatment. So I think I'll pass along the other group so we can mention more things. Right now, in lung cancer, for instance, for the first line of treatment, if the patient wants to get the immunotherapy up front, it has been restricted because it's considered to be experimental to use it in a way that you don't have the appropriate market at that moment. But in clinical trials, those immunotherapy upfront exist options, but they would be considered to be experimental. So the issue that whatever is available to be used as a standard treatment, it comes from all this research. So, maybe immunotherapy upfront could be a possibility, but at this moment right now, it's not yet approved to be used and considered to be experimental. So without the data, it's kind of we even say to the patient what to expect. What kind of survival would be associated with that. So so I think that's something that you need to keep in mind, because sometimes we think that one way of doing things is going to be better because we all believe it's going to be better, but at the end of the day, maybe worse than just stick to the traditional way. So it's something that you need to discuss. I know it's confusing. It's confusing for us too, but we just need to really respect a little bit, the science and the research and all the track record of those drugs that have been used for many patients like you participate in those protocols to be able to have those drugs available. So I think it's important for us to understand that and respect somewhat as much as we can, and seek for opportunities. If whatever standard of care is not something that you like, it is something like whatever the doctor is offering me is something that I really don't feel like it's an option for me. Try to search for opportunities such as a clinical research, where you can embark in something maybe different that potentially can be better and less side effects. And that way you'll not only help yourself, but also help the research involved.
Yeah, I only want to add, continue the same, is that we are, it's a blessing for some of us that we're living this time, because I started to do, for example, lung cancer 20 years ago. The only treatment available was chemotherapy. It was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, all of them were the same. Now we, as Dr. Bastos said, for example, 25% of the patients now qualify for a pill because they have one of the mutations that we have, and we are trying to expand the field. We are keep researching and expand. Maybe another 30 or 40% of the patients qualify for immunotherapy. But even the ones that qualify for the pills of the immunotherapy, we don't cure all of them. They are not 100% successful. So as they were asking before, what we're looking for is to try to improve the response, improve the number of people that gets immunotherapy, improve the number of people that gets target therapy pills, so we can get rid of chemotherapy for all. But we also need to improve the efficacy of the pills. That's why we have been very blessed lately. As you have heard, in the last 3 months, there are 3 more pills approved for lung cancer. We have pills approved for the mutation called BRAF 600. And now we also have, for patients with ALK, we have now 5 different pills. If you have the ALK translocation, the marker, there's 5 pills for that mutation. That's amazing because the patient can go from pill number 1 to number 5 and hopefully never had to go to chemotherapy. But it still doesn't work for everybody. So that's why all of these developments are in the last 5 or 6 years. So that's why, as Dr. Bastos said, if it's very frustrating for you to keep track of them, it's the same for us. Because if you don't check the news today, you miss that they approve a new pill for lung cancer. When the new patient asks you next day, you didn't know. So that's why you have to be patient. Unfortunately, I know that you don't have patience because you are living this. You get the diagnosis today. You cannot wait for these exciting results 2 years from now. But that's what is happening. It's an evolving field. I have patients I have treated 7, 8 years ago, and they're still alive on treatment. But 7 or 8 years ago, the only thing was chemo. Now it's a blessing because now we put them in immunotherapy, we put them pills, clinical trials. So that's why it's an evolving process. So I hope that you understand, as Dr. Santos said, it takes years to get all of these drugs to the market. So it's a very long process. And we're very lucky that we are researching like 800 new cancer drugs as we speak. And at least 80 of them are for lung cancer. Not all of them are going to be home runs, but if we can get approved maybe another 10 or 12, we can improve the immunotherapy response. For example, immunotherapy, now we're going for combinations. Instead of 1 immunotherapy, most of you get 1, we get 2. You know that FDA approved last month combining chemo with immunotherapy. Some of you will get chemo with immunotherapy. Some of them will get 2 immunotherapy combinations. We are also testing target therapy, the pills, with immunotherapy. We already discovered that sometimes it's bad. It's not good to combine pills with immunotherapy, and sometimes it's good. But all of this process is ongoing, so that's why we have to be very patient until we have time to get all of the results. No? Want to add something?
So, I mean, one more thing that's also coming up is continuing on the theme of immunotherapy is actually harvesting the immune cells from the person and then modifying them and then returning them to the patient. So that's already been successful in lymphoma, and they're really ahead with the trials in lymphoma. And now we have a trial in lung cancer. It's very difficult to get eventually somebody on the trial. I mean, we screened a lot of people. It's so strict. But eventually, this is where things are moving. So in addition to infusing things that help the immune system, but maybe also trying to take the cells out, modify them, return them.
Yeah, Raya is correct. I think that's the trial. Dr. Mudad is the leader of the trial, I think, in South Florida. And we are going to open a clinical trial also at Boca Regional Hospital. But we need to screen. If you don't screen, we don't identify anyone. So that's exactly what I told my patient. When the patient arrives, we need to offer the best of the best. Let's go to check for everything and see what can we offer and try to give the patient what we can call personalized, individualized therapy for that specific patient. So we are going to open that trial that Dr. Mudad is leading. But what is coming up is basically now that this immunotherapy, we are learning more and more on how to handle not only dosing but also toxicity, and we already know that the efficacy is there. The next step will be how to overcome resistance to immunotherapy, and that's exactly what Dr. Raez said. So the immune system is a circle, okay? The cell cycle of the immune system has different parts. And now we are developing drug to each of them, okay? So it's just a matter of time that we start to combine this nivolumab, Opdivo, or pembrolizumab, or atezolizumab, or darvolumab with others to overcome the resistance from that. And that's the next step, because what we're going to do with those patients when they progress on that, we need to rescue them. So it's a balance, inhibitory signal, stimulatory signaling. So you need to combine, and we are learning how to handle that. So I think that that's the next step. And then the other thing is just target therapy, continue discovering more and more pathway. There is another one that NTRAC, that we are now developing also drugs against that. And we hope that we can put another percentage of patients into this compound, another pathway that we didn't know too much about that a year ago. So that is coming up.
Great. Maybe we can take advantage that Vanessa, can you talk a couple of words about patient navigation for lung cancer?
So I have to say that the first thing that the patients usually tell me is that they Googled away, and one thing that Dr. Mudad said I wanted to touch base on is they tell you, oh, you know, the internet says I have 6 months to live. Is that true? And making sure that, you know, what date is that from? Because there have been so many advances. And I think that the moment you tell a patient that, you know, let's wait to see the doctor, let's coordinate who you have to see first, and then you'll get those answers, is the best breath of hope that I can give a patient when they call me and tell me, you know, how long am I going to live for? So, you know, when I speak to a patient, it's really putting all the puzzle pieces together. Has there been a biopsy yet? Has there been a PET scan? Have they been hospitalized? You know, do they need to see the surgeon? Do they need to see the radiation oncologist? And that's where I come in. A lot of patients, the first thing that they tell me is, I have pain. And the majority of our patients, when they come to us, they come as a stage 4. And they'll tell me, I have back pain, I have pain in my hip, I have pain, you know, in my shoulders, and that already automatically prompts me to schedule them with a radiation oncologist, because I know that they'll possibly benefit from radiation to that area. A lot of our patients that are stage 3, we coordinate with the surgeon, because it really could go both ways. Can they have a lobectomy? Or what if they have a pleural effusion and they need to have a chest tube in? Mostly just guiding them through the whole process. And then when they are established, what else do you need? Do you need to see a nutritionist? Do you need to see palliative care? Do you need to see pain management? And I'm really there to guide the patient through that entire process, because many of our patients feel lost. You know, what's next? What's the next step? And I think that just being there to make sure that I answer the phone, okay, this is what we could do, let's go this route, let's go this route. I think it's important for the patient.
We have time for one more question or no?
Yeah, probably one more question or two. More questions. Well, my question really is just a reaction to being here tonight and hearing so many people stand up and say they were diagnosed at stage 4 and they had no symptoms. Are there any advances in screening for my children or my children's children, you know, to catch this earlier? Is there anything, you know, colonoscopies, we have mammograms, but
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, no one has looked at any screening of general population lung cancer before, but what we know is people with risk factors of lung cancer, you name it, smokers. There is certain criteria for that population that meets that for many, many years, people have been looking at X-rays as a test or a screening test for smokers, and then CAT scans and so forth, and then the cost outweigh the benefit of the test, or all the research that was done before did not prove that really at the end saved lives. And then they had the idea of the screening CT scan with low dose in this specific patient population based on age, pack of cigarettes per year, and there is certain criteria that most of the hospitals now are embracing. And there is a very good paper that was looked and published in the New England Journal of Medicine in which CT screening for lung cancer saved more lives than the other screens combined. And when you look at screening save more like mammograms and colonoscopies, it's a pretty stunning fact now. And not only that, there is also publications in economics in medicine in which you not only look at the survival, which is the utmost outcome that you want to see in your patient, but also economically the money that is being saved by saving those lives, and people being caught early and getting early stage treatments such as surgery than going through the treatment of chemotherapy, radiation, and multiple lines of chemo, multiple radiation. So overall, yes, and to give you a perspective, when they look at the CT screening, the outcome of the preliminary data of the research was so good that was found to be unethical to continue with the test, because they found early on that we'll save so many lives that there was no ethically wrong to continue to the test. So it was actually stopped early because of good results. And most of the places around here that you can get a screening for $100, $125. And if you look at the patient population that has been diagnosed with early stage lung cancer, you name it A1, which is the earliest you could have, most of those patients were actually diagnosed incidentally because they were going for a hysterectomy and they got a clear chest, a chest x-ray for clearance. Or they were doing a mammogram and the mammogram was equivocal, they got an MR of the breast and then boom, something shows up in the lung. Those are the patients that you resect early stage and then you have the best outcome to cure them. Most of the patients present at a later stage. What we need to look forward is what other criteria we need to screen other populations, and that's not known. I mean, as what we know now is we have more patients, non-smoker patients every year in the US with lung cancer than patients with lymphoma, to give an example. So, and they don't smoke. So we know that something else is creating the cancer. Some people has brought up secondhand smoking. We used to smoke in planes and closed spaces, but that is fading away. All that is disappearing. Same with chemical exposure to chemical things, people that works in runways or cleaning industry. So I think lung cancer is evolving significantly in all the aspects, from screening to treatment, and same with surgery. Surgery hasn't significantly changed over years, but what we're looking into is what can we do to get the patient through the operation faster and recover them faster so they can jump into chemo if needed. And same with the staging. I think the goal is for people with lung cancer to go to a place that they are familiar with diagnosis and staging, so people that can properly stage, because staging is what is going to dictate your treatment and ultimately your outcome. So I see patients most of the time that they get a PET scan, they have stage, to quote an example, stage 3A, and then is that single N2 disease or multiple N2? That is a significant change in outcome. I mean, people with one lymph node, a 10 lymph node, a bulky lymph node. So I think you should sample those nodes before you start treatment so you can assess response better. So I think this is evolving, like Luis was saying, Dr. Raez. I mean, this is a very exciting way for lung cancer. You were diagnosed 10 years ago and completely different than being diagnosed in this year.
One of the things I just want to add on to that, because I think it's important and we get asked all the time, is it's not just enough to get screened, right? But it's to ensure that you're being screened somewhere where they're properly following up with whatever that screening looks like. And then, if you are diagnosed, that you're seeing, in a center such as one of these, where there's a comprehensive, multidisciplinary team of physicians looking after you. That is ever so important.
Yeah, I only want to add. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll give you the microphone. And I only want to add that now many of you have shown that we already have learned how to see the lung cancer in the blood. That's one of the most amazing things I have seen in my time. Lung cancer was the orphan disease that nothing is checked in the blood. But now we can find it in the blood. So that's why our hope is that, radiation is cumbersome, and that's why a lot of doctors don't want to do the screenings, a lot of money. So we already know how to find the lung cancer in the blood now. We check the genes, we test the genes. So our next step that is in the process is to start to check the lung cancer DNA in healthier people, so we can say for sure with a blood draw, oh, you are going to get lung cancer soon. So that's why a lot of us, for us, it's very exciting topic. All of us are involved in the research of this, and that's want to give you a lot of hope to you. We're looking for the day that we will be checking your blood, like you do your PSA and for lung cancer, and it's a reality. And to be more concrete, for example, that we can check the blood of a pregnant woman, and we know what blood drop comes from the baby because the DNA of the baby is there. It's not the mother. We can differentiate very well now. So that's what we're looking forward. Hopefully, it will be soon the day that we can screen your lung cancer in the blood. So that's one of the things that are coming.
Yeah, you want to mention, Dr. Tarrazzi is correct. I mean, unfortunately, the screening is for people that are on high risk. But what about the healthy people? Well, remember what happened to BRCA for our breast cancer patients. Okay, you unfortunately someone in the family get the breast cancer, and see how, if you see the movie, how the things develop, and they were able to identify that germline gene abnormality in the family. So in the Adario Lung Cancer Foundation, and thank you to Bonnie Adario and colleagues, they also have the Adario Lung Cancer Medical Institute, in which I think that all these institutions that we are here, we are part of them. We are also looking into lung cancer in very young people, okay? And if you know someone that has lung cancer before the age of 40, and especially never a smoker, please refer to them, because we are looking into a gene and see if there is something that we are missing in that regard. Other colleagues in the East Coast, in Dana-Farber, Jeffrey Oxnard and others, and also in the Midwest with Dr. Ramaswamy, they are looking into that. Okay, exactly what you said. If there are kindreds of a family in which germline is running in the family that can predispose the patient, the human being in this case, to develop lung cancer. So I just want to share that we are making those efforts in that arena.
Great. Yeah. Okay, the last question.
Well, I use more of a statement first and a question, actually. I wanted to say thank you guys for really everything. You guys are so patient with us and caring, to not only the physicians that are here now, but for example, my physicians like Dr. Hunis and Dr. Mehta. Thank you to them, and then thank you to foundations like the Dario Foundation that help out with the research and the trials and the support groups, and to all of our family members and that go through it with us. Because when somebody's diagnosed, it's not just one person that's kind of going through us. It's everybody's community. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And with that, I wanted to ask, is there anything that we could do? And I wanted to, maybe if you had some input on this as well, Danielle, is there anything that we could do as patients or just as people, aside from, donating, to foundations and volunteering and things like that? Is there anything that we could do to kind of help you guys
Well, it's a perfect timing, you know, because what happened is we need your help because, as we were mentioning before, we need money for research. That's why the Dario Foundation actually was created not to provide information to all of us. That's a very good goal, is to fundraise money for research. And that's a very important goal. That's why, for example, here in South Florida, we do a 5K race in September. We do a fly of kites, and we fundraise all of this money so we can give these grants to cancer researchers so we don't depend on only the government money. And in that way, we can hopefully expedite the discovery of many of these things. So that's why we need your help, because your story is your story, is that story, you know. When I talk sometimes to the patient, they said, you know, Dr. Raez, he writes the prescription. Your stories are what are the value, what impact more. So we need your help in all of these patient advocacy events, especially because lung cancer is very hard. You know, when you do a breast cancer event, I don't have to call anybody. The whole parking is full of people, you know. Yeah, because it's breast cancer. For some reason, breast cancer attracts more people. Yeah, maybe because, you know, they look better than us or whatever. But we are more people. Lung cancer is 225,000 in this year, you know, in America, and the mortality is much higher. So that's why we need your help. Your story is the most important story. We will support you. We will put the events together. And but we need, for example, these small events that we do in Florida. We want to grow them. We want to get the funds, and we want to invest more in research. So hopefully we can move faster all of these developments. And also want to give thanks to our sponsors. You know, several pharmaceutical companies sponsors us tonight, because I have patients sitting here that they get free drug from these companies. I have patients that get immunotherapy for free. I have patients that have huge copayments of $500 a month that they can only get the medication from their help. That's why it's very important for us, you know. And every time for example, the Memorial Healthcare System, we're public. 20% of our patients don't have any funds. So we have to always call industry and say, listen, we need drug for this patient, we need this pill, we need copayments, and we are always get the help. That's why we're very grateful. And we need also your support from all the patients for all the events.
Yeah, I think that was great. So I thank you for that question, Alex. I think just to tag on a little bit to what Dr. Raez said, it's stay involved, right? Come out to the events and support, you know, support your hospitals or your foundations and in that way, so that we can raise the much needed funding for the much needed continued research in this space. But it also generates awareness. You brought up breast cancer, right? People are paying attention because there's thousands of people at all of these events. It's on the news, right? When we have an event, and we love that we can get a few hundred people in one spot, but people are like, no, it's just another event, right? So it's staying involved and generating that awareness and that impact, sharing your stories with us, with your doctors, so that we can then go out and share them. There is still, you know, a stigma associated with this disease that is completely unnecessary and ridiculous as far as we're concerned. But what it has generated is a whole group of people who just kind of stand back in the shadows and are quiet about it. Because whether they smoked or they didn't smoke, somebody's asking. And why does it matter? Right? So really sharing your stories, it's a huge, huge, huge part of that, and staying, you know, in this little community. And with that, and like I said, Dr. Raez touched on it, I'm going to ask Anna to give a little bit more information about the events in case you guys are interested in coming out and participating. And Anna can explain more about how many people are there and what a great day it is.
Hello, everyone. So I was the friendly face greeting you at the registration table. Just a little bit of background. I kind of came into the foundation in January, so I'm the newbie. I am located here in Miami, Florida, so if you need anything, please don't hesitate to ask me for my number. I will more than happily share it and connect you with the right people at that foundation. So to that end, this is our 5K. We are hosting it on September 17th. MCI Memorial Cancer Institute and UM Sylvester are two of our sponsors. We would love if you guys come out. It's not necessarily you have to run. You can walk it. You can hop it, whatever you want to do. Exactly. You can sit back with us at the tents, however you want to participate. But we would love to have you guys and your family and your coworkers, whoever you want to invite. Our second event is coming up in November. Oh, and the website for that one is yournextstepisthecure.org/Hollywood 2017. You can take a flyer on the way out. And then our other event, if you're not into running or walking like myself, this is an event that I actually started 9 years ago in memory of my mom, who passed away from lung cancer. And it's a kite fly on the beach. It's going to be on Hollywood North Beach. It's November 4th from 1 to 4 p.m. It's an amazing event. You decorate your kite, you have a t-shirt, have a picnic on the beach. Absolutely enjoy yourself. I know a few of you have been there, and I love that you all have come out tonight. So you have your choice, and if you have something in mind that you want to start on your own, please feel free to contact me. We would love to do whatever you guys can do to keep the awareness going and get the fundraising going to help us get the research done. Thank you.
So I want to close with my thank yous, first and foremost to this panel of amazing people who came out to spend their evening with us tonight. Thank you all so very much for your constant support. I want to say a thank you to those groups out there that support us, the folks in the pharmaceutical and biotech industry, Astellas, Bristol Myers Squibb, Celgene, Genentech, Lilly, Merck, Novartis, Tesaro, Yahoo, Employee Foundation. Without their support, we could not put together programs like this and others to help kind of walk you guys through your new normals, you know, as they come to fruition. A huge thank you to Libby and staff here at the historic Maxwell Room. What a beautiful venue. Thank you for all of your help putting this together from California. That was not very easy, trying to manage all of this and get it done from so far away. So huge thank you to them. Beverly Boy Productions for coming out and setting up all this equipment. And then don't forget, this living room is live streamed every month, third Tuesday of every month. And you can sign in from here. We have a lot of folks from here in Florida that sign in to our regularly scheduled monthly meeting. So there's flyers out there if you guys are interested in doing that as well. And then last but not least, I want to thank all of you for sharing your time and your stories with us. Like I said earlier, it's so very important. I hear all the time from patients that they feel alone, that they've never met another lung cancer patient, that they've never had the opportunity to participate in something like a 5K, such as like the breast cancer folks do. So thank you all for sharing your stories, and thank you to all the loved ones for sharing your loved ones with us. So with that, we will close. Please enjoy coffee and the delicious brownies if you haven't had any. Thank you, everybody.